Syaoran's special, Small Wolf's most precious birthday. Japan, July 13th. I can't believe you caught a cold on your birthday, Sakura said reproachfully, bringing a tray with a water glass and pills up to Syaoran's bedside. I can't either, Syaoran replied dryly, propped up against his pillows in the bed, covered with a deep forest green blanket. Though he took a sip of the icy glass of water, he tossed the pill aside. Wrinkling her nose, Sakura commented, You won't get any better if you don't take your medicine. Anyway, you still didn't tell me what made you stand outside in the cold rain for hours. That was plain stupid. Smiling sadly, Syaoran remembered how the previous day he had received a phone call from his eldest uncle, who was the second head of the Lee clan and his father's eldest brother. Sakura had been out with her friends, supposedly buying him a present at the time. Coughing up, as he did whenever Uncle Wutai spoke to him, he said, Uncle, I wasn't expecting you. Of course I would call for my nephew's birthday. It's tomorrow, right? July 13th? His uncle had replied. It's almost been a year since you left home. At that moment, Syaoran wished that it had been his youngest uncle calling, the one he liked best. Yet, it was his least favorite uncle. He feebly corrected, It's been 3/4 of a year. Same thing. The most important years of your life, and you're idling off far from home. Remember, you are not just anyone, Syaoran. You are representing the mighty Lee clan, who bears the blood of the celestial dragon emperor of China. His eldest uncle stated without hiding the disapproval in his voice. When I was your age, I was training in seclusion, the arts of the most complex sword fighting, meditating and polishing up my skills. I bet you had no life, muttered Syaoran under his breath. From childhood, he had never liked this stiff, proper uncle who had apparently despised his father as well. Excuse me? I said I'm not idling off. I'm busy here, fighting all the dark ones and getting first-hand training to the level which I will never have at home. Syaoran hastened to reply. He couldn't help chuckling, for he certainly improved in making excuses. When he was younger, he would never have dared to talk back to his sharp-tongued, critical uncle. Scoffing, his uncle asked, You call that training? I call it more foolishness. Helping a girl who used to be your rival and someone you shamefully lost to our control over the cloud cards, which rightfully belong to the Lee clan. Just like your father, losing to some silly, senseless girl with no association to the ancient world of the great five force magicians. What do you know about my father? Syaoran retorted hotly. Well, you're old enough to know now. My younger brother, Ren, was a naive fool to fall in love with a young Japanese girl and forget his whole mission of tracking the cloud card book and bringing it to our family. I knew it was a mistake to make a 17-year-old pass the Lee clan ordeal and become our chosen one. Thank goodness he came to his senses and returned to Hong Kong before he caused any more damage. It was bad enough that he failed to accomplish his mission. Then, the prominent Lee family went ahead and made a 10-year-old boy their new chosen one. It was insanity to make a little boy the chosen one. In my days, the chosen one was well over 20, sometimes 30, a warrior who had proved his worth to the clan. And sure enough, the son also screwed up, and a second chance to take the cloud cards. In a cold voice, Syaoran stated, I don't mind you criticizing me most, Uncle Wutai, and I deeply apologize for my disappointments to the family. But don't criticize my father. Don't act like you know. You'll never understand what father went through. If you could have done any better, you should have tried to be the chosen one in your time. Even if you tried, you wouldn't have accomplished anything because you were so close-minded. You don't know love. You don't know honor, courage, and faith. The time had arrived for us to open into a new world, where we accept the new changes and the new flow of thought. The reason why Father was the chosen one was not because of his extraordinary coordination, skill, and powers. It was because he could learn and take that extra leap to fight against all odds. His uncle dissolved into a violent fit of coughing. His nephew had never spoken to him in that tone before. It was as if Li Ryuren, his youngest brother, was alive again. The voice, that cocky attitude coming from the young boy, it was the same. He remembered after Ryuren had returned from Japan, he had changed from a hot-tempered boy to a mature young man. When he mocked Ryuren for failing to bring back the cloud cards, Ryuren had replied calmly, "You don't understand anything, do you, brother? This experience wasn't about a mission. What I went through for the past 2 years wasn't about winning or losing. It was about struggling, fighting with the truth, finding who I am inside. Sometimes they're painful, sometimes they're joyful. Yet the 2 years I spent built me to a stronger person, or else I never would have survived that last battle. I would never have been able to leave the one I loved if I didn't learn to become the unwavering person I am now. I don't care what the family thinks of me. I have no regrets. But don't think you know better than me." Dark chestnut-haired, blazing sapphire-eyed, handsome Ryuren was still vivid in Syaoran's uncle's mind. Li Wutai hadn't been sad when Ryuren passed away, yet he felt ashamed of this fact. Finally, he replied rigidly, "Syaoran, I didn't mean to criticize your father. I'm just wishing the best for you. I don't want you to waste your time." "I think I know what's best for myself," Syaoran answered coldly. "My life is my life." "Well, it is what I would wish for my son, were he alive," his uncle replied, putting on a hurt tone. "Are you sure you don't want to come back?" Something in Syaoran's heart jolted. What his uncle would wish for his son if he was alive. Li Lian. For a moment, Syaoran had almost forgotten that Lian, his favorite cousin, had been the son of his least favorite uncle. A coldness swept through Syaoran. Lian. Would he have carried out the mission better if he was the chosen one? Yet, he was dead. Nothing he could do about it. Cutting the conversation short, Syaoran said, Thank you for calling me uncle, but no, I will not go back until I'm ready to." Then he hung up the phone. Afterwards, he had a sudden rush to run, escape, break free. Instead, he calmly walked outside, taking a deep breath of the musty, humid night air. There was a strange urge in which he wanted to see Sakura right at that moment. And it's impossible since Sakura was out with her friends. Living a few months with her in the same apartment made him take her for granted. Sakura running around in the morning, finding her school tie and the other pair of knee socks. Sakura waiting for him after school. When soccer ended, running to school production rehearsals together, cooking meals, squabbling, doing laundry, talking together during nighttime. He had been forgetting his duty to his family. Not once during the past months had he thought about being the chosen one, the one chosen to represent the Lee clan and put aside everything to do what was best for the family. His father did that. He gave up his love for Nadesco and returned to his family. As he stood outside, thinking, it began drizzling, then pouring. Summer rain matted his dark hair into his forehead, trickled down his forehead, and soaked his shirt. It seemed like hours later when Sakura came back, holding a green umbrella, his green umbrella. As she came down the dark path leading to the apartment, she squinted, then gasped. Running up to the soaked Syaoran, she exclaimed, "Syaoran, what are you doing staying here and getting all soaked?" To her surprise, he toppled over against her. His amber eyes focused again, and he croaked, I was waiting for you." Steadying Syaoran, Sakura asked, In the rain? Why? You could have waited in the house.
Did you notice all the stars are gone? Syaoran murmured, gazing up at the clouded night sky.
Oi? Sakura turned around. Well, if you want to watch stars, you should go more into the countryside.
Watching Vega Lier always made me feel safe. Vega's gone also, but you're here, Sakura.
Are you sure you're all right? Sakura asked, concerned, pressing her palm to his forehead. It was burning hot. You have a fever. Fingers, you're all wet. Come, let's go inside. Overnight, Syaoran caught a severe cold, the first time in 5 or so years. I thought you never got sick, Sakura stated as she fiddled with the flower vase, adjusting some pink Chinese peonies, Syaoran's favorite flower. The sweet aroma of the flower drifted through Syaoran's bedroom. I feel bad. I wanted to give you a great birthday, like the one you gave me. I was going to invite everyone and have a big party for you.
It's all right, Syaoran said in a muffled voice, reaching for more tissue. He didn't really fancy big parties anyways.
Can't I use the heal card on you? Sakura asked.
No, I told you only to use it for important things, he told her impatiently.
Well, don't you consider yourself important?
Not really, Syaoran replied, shrugging.
Why wouldn't that pounding headache go away? I should get some honey milk then, Sakura concluded. Oni-chan always does that for me. Oh, do you remember when you got sick back in the cloud car days and I came over to make you honey milk? I think that was the first time I saw you in pajamas. It was cute, seeing the tough and mighty Syaoran in green pajamas. You remember that time though, right?
I'm not sure, Syaoran replied blandly.
Oh, Sakura looked crestfallen. Well, rest for now. Call me if you need anything.
Syaoran watched Sakura gently shut his door, her emerald eyes downcast. Of course he remembered. He remembered the joy he felt when he saw that Sakura had worried about him and came over to his house to make delicious warm honey milk when he was sick, back in elementary school. They had been rivals, but she had cared for him like a friend. He remembered that strange, warm feeling he felt in his mind as he repeated her name in his mind. Sakura. It came so naturally to his mouth now, yet at one point, he only called her a rude form of you. Oh my. Why did he hurt her and say that he didn't remember that time? He had an urge to call her back and tell her that he did remember and to thank her for that moment, yet he didn't. To Syaoran, special days and holidays didn't mean much. Another day was just another day. It was the prominent Lee clan's tradition for the father to teach his son the skills to become a warrior of the clan. Yet, at the age of 3, his father, Lee Ryu-ren, had passed away. Being the youngest of 4 sisters and an eccentric mother didn't help the situation. This led to Syaoran depending mostly on his elder cousin Lee Lian, who was 7 years older than himself. Lee Lian, son of the eldest of Syaoran's uncles, Uncle Wu Tai, who had been the pride of the family for even at a young age. He had shown promising swordsmanship, discipline, responsibility, and the virtues of a true Lee warrior. With friendly sky blue eyes and an encouraging smile, Lian had always kept an eye for Syaoran, almost like a real brother. It was Lian who had told Syaoran most about his father, Lee Ryu-ren, for Lian had been close to his uncle before he passed away. Syaoran's earliest memories was that of endless toiling and training in martial arts, struggling to hold up a sword about as big as he was tall, and being whacked off balance when he made a mistake. Yet, once in a while, this thought flickered. He tried to keep a cool, emotionless exterior, yet inside he was as vulnerable as any other boy, though he did not admit it to himself. While much of his earlier childhood was dim in his mind, Syaoran still clearly remembered his 5th birthday, which had been his happiest one. Syaoran, age 5, Hong Kong. Hi-ya! Young Syaoran at age 5 spun around and kicked out his short yet supple right leg and attempted to flip over and land across the training field with a smooth kick. He landed in an awkward position, head over heels. Little Mei Lin, also age 5, ran up to him and asked, "Syaoran, are you all right?" Giving a gruff grunt for an answer, Syaoran stood up again, brushed the dirt off his training clothes, and began the staff drill once more. "Aunt Yaelin," Lian, age 12, began. "For a little boy, Syaoran is far too serious. He needs to play around and have fun like the other children." Sighing, Yaelin, Syaoran's mother, replied, "I do agree, yet he's such a solemn boy. He doesn't really fit in with the other children, and he himself stated he'd rather be training and become a warrior." Ruefully smiling, Lian commented, "I shouldn't have told him so many stories about Uncle Ryuren, but Syaoran always asked about Uncle Ryuren, and I always told him how Uncle was brave and a heroic warrior, of the Li clan chosen one, and the bearer of the 5-4 sword." "Oh, Ryuren wasn't that perfect of a person," Yaelin said, smiling. "He was only human. Not only was he hot-tempered, grouchy, and selfish, but stubborn and obstinate. He always had things his way. All the same, I chased after him madly when I was a girl." Surprised, Lian asked, "You did, Aunt? But both you and Uncle Ryuren seemed like such a perfect people." "Oh," laughing, Yaelin replied, "Far from that. Although Ryuren did improve after he came back from Japan. Let's see, he left when he was 17 and came back 1 or 2 years later. We married soon after he came back at such an early age, which maybe was lucky because he died early, but never mind that. I don't see why you would envy us, Lian. You are the pride of our family now." Bashfully, Lian ducked his head. His light tan hair blew in the July wind. "Actually, I was just thinking that Syaoran's birthday's coming up soon, and I would like your permission on something." "Go ahead, it's yours, your 5th birthday present," Syaoran's mother told him gently on a bright summer morning of July 13th, leading little Syaoran to a large box. Puzzled, Syaoran stared up with round amber eyes and asked, "Birthday present?" It was a foreign word to him. Hesitantly, he opened the lid of the box. A tiny puppy jumped out of the box and began licking little Syaoran's face. For a second, Syaoran looked astounded and gazed up at Lian and his mother, then at his 4 sisters. Bending down, Lian held the puppy still for Syaoran to see. The little golden puppy squirmed, but at the same time, it panted happily. Lian added, "It's a month-old puppy, a golden retriever, the most faithful, loyal of dogs, your own pet." "Golden retriever," Syaoran repeated, staring at the frisky dog. "For me?" He didn't even have to hold out his arms. The puppy jumped right up into his lap and rubbed its nose on Syaoran's shirt. For a second, Syaoran looked startled, then broke out laughing. It was a change to have the boy's childish laughter ring through the house. It was rare that Syaoran laughed. He squeezed the puppy into a tight hug. His head hung down and his chestnut brown bangs covered his eyes. Finally, he whispered, "Thank you." Lian understood his little cousin's feelings, yet he had a strange feeling that if Syaoran would have tears in his eyes, he would know how to cry. Yet Syaoran was different from other children, somewhat queer. He never cried. He never showed much emotion. Ruffling Syaoran's hair, Lian said, "It's all right. Now what are you going to name him?" Silently, Syaoran stared down at his puppy. What would his father have named the golden retriever? His favorite type of dog. Without a second thought, he stated, Vega. What kind of puppy name is that? Asked Fan Ren, one of his 4 sisters, laughing out loud. Don't you even know the star constellation? Little Syaoran asked impatiently. Vega, the brightest star of the Lyra constellation. You remember that your father's favorite star was Vega of Lyra, didn't you? Leon asked. Smiling brightly, Syaoran nodded. Vega of Lyra? His sister murmured. Doesn't exactly sound like a dog name. How about Eagle for a nickname? Leon suggested. Syaoran's mother chuckled. Why don't you just call him Dog? Shaking his head, Leon explained. Vega in Latin means swooping eagle, I think. Eagle, Syaoran pronounced. He liked the sound of it, powerful yet smooth, vibrant and deep. The puppy replied with a bark. Arf! So the nickname Eagle stuck to Vega, Syaoran's faithful golden retriever. End of Syaoran's 5th birthday flashback. Hey, Sakura, what's your favorite star? Syaoran asked as he walked out of his room a while later, plopping on the couch. His head felt woolly from the cold. I told you to stay in your bed because you're sick, Sakura scolded, shutting the oven. You never listen to me. I can't just keep lying in bed doing nothing, Syaoran grumbled. Sakura untied her apron and walked over to the living room. Sitting on the sofa facing Syaoran, she sighed. I guess this must be your worst birthday, being cooped up inside with a cold. Hardly, Syaoran replied. My worst one was my 10th. The Li clan elders made me climb this really high mountain and pass all these difficult obstacles up there, supposedly passing the test to officially become the chosen one. It was awful. I was tempted to give up the whole thing, but that would be breaking my word, and I was stubborn, so I endured it. Oh, quickly, Sakura's mind processed that Syaoran's 10th birthday would have been soon after his cousin Lian's death. She still remembered that one thundering night when Syaoran gave her a glimpse of his childhood. At the time, she had felt closer to him than ever before. For some reason, she had a strong urge to reach out and take Syaoran's hand in hers. Then, Syaoran continued. But it was also my most prideful and significant birthday. The elders officially named me the new chosen one of the Li clan. The inner of the Council of Elders accepted me. I decided at that point that I will win no matter what, and fight till the end. That I wouldn't disappoint my family then. Then, Sakura tilted her head questioningly. Ruefully, he replied, Then, I met you. This made Sakura jump. What did that mean? She stared straightly. Do you regret it? It was because of me you didn't become the Cloud Card Master. No, I don't regret it, Syaoran replied. When Syaoran could barely walk, he had promised his father that he would become a strong warrior like him. Though Li Ryuren did not live to see Syaoran grow, Syaoran held his father in his heart. The other promise he made was to always protect Sakura. He never wanted to break either vows. You know, we never exactly fought each other straight out. We only competed with each other over the cloud cards. If we ever fought each other face to face, you would have won. You had more experience, power, and motivation. Shaking his head, Syaoran corrected. No, I wasn't more powerful than you. You know you're lying. You know you could have won against me, Sakura replied. Yet you never challenged me to a fight. Instead, you always helped me and protected me. How do you think I could fight someone I loved? Syaoran thought. There was an uncomfortable, melancholy silence. To lighten the mood, Sakura asked, "Well, what was your happiest birthday then?" Slightly grinning, Syaoran replied, "I guess my 5th. I didn't have many memorable birthdays anyway. Leanne and my family got me a puppy. A golden retriever."
"The most faithful of dogs," Sakura murmured.
"Right," Syaoran replied, suddenly looking much happier since yesterday.
"I've never had any pets, unless you count Kira-chan. It would have been nice to have a dog for a companion. I always wanted one."
"I can be your faithful pet, if you want me to," Syaoran suggested, bending his head down for Sakura to pet. Laughing, Sakura petted Syaoran's tousled, soft brown hair. It surprised her that such a cute, childish side existed in Syaoran.
A Xiao-chan for a pet. Seems like a good idea," Sakura said.
Turning more serious, Syaoran commented, "It was an odd birthday present, since at the time I didn't really care for pets."
"What did you name the puppy?"
Rather embarrassed, Syaoran mumbled, "Vega. Do you know the star Vega of Lier? My father pointed out that constellation to me when I was little, telling me it's the star he always wished upon. I have no idea where the North Star is, but I know where Vega lies in the sky. So I named my dog Vega. Don't laugh. I was only 5 at the time, okay?"
"Hey, I'm not laughing. I think it's a perfectly good name for a puppy. It's really pretty. There's a chord about it that I like. Vega. It's a name I heard before. I don't remember where, though." "That's what you meant last night when you were staying outside in the rain. You were trying to see Vega the star, your father's favorite star."
Yeah.
Yesterday, he had been staying in the rain, staring at the sky, angry and confused by his uncle's phone call. Had Leon been alive, what would he have done? Would he have become the chosen one? Then, Syaoran would never have had to come to Japan or disappoint his family. What would his father have done in the same situation? He had returned to his family. No, he didn't want to think about it. Not on his birthday. I wonder why that star was my father's favorite. Thinking about it, though, Vega was the puppy's given name, but I called him Eagle. Vega means falling or swooping eagle. Swooping eagle. There's something mysterious and romantic about it.
Chuckling, he said, "When I was little, I imagined that my father would be watching from that star, since I had the ridiculous notion that people became stars when they died, and it seemed logical to me that my father would become his favorite star when he died. And I had an even more ridiculous notion that my father sent the golden retriever to Earth to look after me."
The faithful Golden had followed him everywhere. Eagle had been Syaoran's first and only pet. One of the rare times that Syaoran ever lost his temper in public was when he found several middle school students bullying Eagle, throwing rocks at him and mocking him. The bullies should have known better than to mess with something that belonged to him. At the age of 7, Syaoran beat up 5 14-year-olds who happened to be Leon's classmates. Leon had a good laugh about it later on, and his classmates couldn't face anyone in school anymore, being beat by a fierce first grader. Of course, Syaoran had been scolded heavily by his mother for displaying his martial arts skills to common people. "I don't think it's ridiculous, the idea that people become stars when they die," Sakura remarked. "I thought my mother became an angel who always looked over me when she died, and who knows, angels may appear in the form of serenity, glimmering stars to humans." She didn't notice that Syaoran was staring at her intently with a half-dreamy expression.
"It's a fascinating philosophy," he murmured. "Only you would think of such a thing."
Sakura didn't know whether it was a compliment or not.
She perceived it as the latter. Then she exclaimed, "There, I remember where I heard the name before. Do you know the legend about Vega? My father told it to me when I was little. Or maybe it was my mother. I don't remember."
How does it go?
Let's see. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess weaver called Oriheim, daughter of the Emperor Tente of the heavens. Oriheim wove skillfully, and her father was proud of this. Yet after a while, her work grew tedious. One day, she met the brave young shepherd, King Yu, who dwelled across the river, the Milky Way on earth. Soon they grew to love each other. Their time spent together was blissful and happy, and for the first time they both found something beyond work, the joy of love. Yet when the emperor found out about this, he grew very angry. The lovers had neglected their work. Oriheim hadn't woven, and King Gyu had neglected his fields. The emperor took Oriheim back to the heavens. After a while, he realized how sad his daughter was and how much she loved the shepherd, but he wouldn't yield to their love. Though the shepherd tried to reach the princess, the river Milky Way kept him from her.
Another sappy love story.
Syaoran interjected. Yet it was meaningful, Sakura retorted. Anyway, I'm not finished. The two still loved each other deeply and were in despair, so the celestial magpies helped them by forming a bridge across the river so that the two could meet each other. After seeing how inseparable the two were, the emperor finally consented to letting the two unite once a year in the 7th day of the 7th month. Now, on July 7th, there's a festival in Japan called the Tanabata, which is celebrating the meeting of the princess and the shepherd. And if it isn't raining, you'd be able to see the Princess Weaver or the star Vega of Lier and her shepherd, the star Altair, cross the Milky Way. Yet it often rains on July 7th, which is said to be the tears of the princess.
I've heard a story like that before also,
Syaoran said after a while.
I think it originated from China, but I never heard the end.
I always thought it was beautiful. I completely forgot about it until now. Heaving a sigh, Sakura regretted. Too bad I didn't find out what your favorite star is Vega about. I would have taken you to the Tanabata festival 5 days ago. Though I've only been to a few Tanabata festivals, it's really fun watching the stars and writing wishes on bamboo sticks. I promise to take you next year. Promise? She held out her pinky. Nodding, Syaoran hooked his pinky to hers. He didn't know if he would still be in Japan next year, but who cared?
Make me another yutaka too,
he said, grinning. Though it didn't fit him anymore, he still kept the blue and white striped yukata that Sakura had made him when they were 11 for a Japanese festival. He still remembered how she had spent a week of sleepless nights making it for him and ending up bandaging all of her fingers. You know how hard it was to make you one? Now you're a lot bigger too, so it'll be twice as hard, Sakura cried in dismay. At that moment, a large banging came on the window. Startled, Syaoran and Sakura drew back. A bird popped in. Hui! Sakura examined the bird, who was carrying a package in its beak. Wait, isn't this Kaido-kun's bird? Next, in popped a person dressed all in black.
Figures. The only person who comes through windows is Kaido Magician,
Syaoran said dryly. Large cracking sounds and colorful streamers floated around them with a cloud of mist and silver balloons. Kaido Magician deftly landed on the table and bowed.
Sheesh, do away with your fancy entrances, Syaoran said. What are you doing here anyway? More stealing?
With a hurt puppy look, Kaido said,
I came in honor of your birthday. How do you know when my birthday is?
Well,
I know everything there is to know through my computer data, but actually, I came because Malin asked me to give you something. Kaido replied.
You do see an awful lot of her, Sakura pondered.
I had business in Hong Kong, Kaido mumbled. Then he handed Syaoran a parcel. Here, Malin said to give this to you.
Cautiously, Syaoran opened the parcel to find a book inside.
What kind of book is it? Sakura asked, expecting some difficult Chinese manual.
Kaido turned the book over to see the cover and then burst out laughing.
A dating manual for the hopeless guy. Man, I love that girl's sense of humor. Let's see. Page 1. Top 10 etiquette guideline. Number 1. Don't ever break promises no matter what, including being late for dates. Number 2. Don't be grouchy or rude. Number 3. Don't call the girl stupid, idiot, or insult her in any way. Number 4. Always address the girl properly and respectfully, and don't call her things such as hey you or any rude names. Number 5. Make her feel secure by expressing to her your true feelings for her frequently. Number 6. Smile and laugh often to keep the girl comfortable. Number 7. Buy a nice present for her on all special occasions and make her feel special. Number 8. Don't ever use violence or show rash actions in front of the girl. Number 9. Don't hurt the girl by harsh words. And number 10. Don't ever make her cry. Still bent over chuckling until his sunglasses were lopsided, Kaido slapped Syaoran in the back, asking, Man, how can you fail all the way from 1 to 10? Even if it's you. Let's see. Malin's card.
Dearest Syaoran, thought you needed all the help you can get. Read this book well. I even highlighted the main pointers for you. I hope Kaido gets this book safely to you. Oh yeah, and sending Sakura and everyone else my greetings. Well, happy birthday! I miss you. Love, Malin. P.S. Add-on scores 100% according to this book. So does Iro. Probably Kaito is a level above you also. Hint, hint. There was a look of death on Syaoran's face. For the longest time, Sakura tried to keep a straight face, but at last her face turned red and she broke out in helpless giggles, pointing at Syaoran. The look on your face is priceless. Oh my god, I wish Tomeo-chan could videotape this. Who says I'm not? Tomeo asked. She tried to heave herself up the window, and Kaido gave her a hand. I hope I'm not intruding. I followed Kaido-kun up the window. I'm just dropping by. Here's my present, Syaoran-kun. She handed an elaborately wrapped box to Syaoran. Inside was the Syaoran special video. Actually, it was a video with all of Sakura's best scenes on film, some with Syaoran also. Tomeo had given a similar tape to Sakura for her birthday, but one which had Syaoran's best scenes up till that point. It was truly drool-worthy. Oh, and Iro has presents for you also. She handed him another package. Wait! Syaoran shouted, dropping Iro's present and drawing everyone back. Circling the box, he glared at it suspiciously. He had enough bad experiences with Iro's presents. What's the problem? Sakura reached over and ripped open the package. See? It's nothing harmful. It's a book. A book? Syaoran glared at it. Not another book. He read the title, Shakespearean Love Sonnets and Other Famous Love Quotes. Ugh. Then he groaned. Still laughing, Kaido managed to squeak. Oh, Juliet, the moon should envy you for the beauty or whatever crap you want to use. Completely hilarious. Good luck in reading the hundreds of pages of the stuff. Well, I better give you my present also before I leave. Even more dubiously, Syaoran opened the package. To his surprise, there was a small telescope inside. Flatly, Syaoran asked Kaido, What is this? Can't you see? It's a telescope, a tool to watch stars, spy on people, whatever you want it for. Don't worry, I bought it. The police won't come chasing after it. Kaido reassured.
Oh, and Malin said to give this to you too, a reminder of childhood days. What's this? She already gave me a present, Syaoran inquired. I promised Malin not to open it, Kaido commented, so I have no idea what it is.
Carefully, Syaoran peeled off the tissue paper wrapping. Inside was a crude wood carving the size of his palm. Setting the object gently on the table, Syaoran said softly,
I made this for Malin years ago.
They could all see now that the tan-colored wood carving was one of a miniature golden Labrador. It wasn't all too refined, yet the movement and the angle and the expression of the puppy's eyes, wagging tail, and sleek fur was well captured, almost as if a miniature golden retriever was sitting on the table. On the bottom of the dog was carved L.S.
Oh, how adorable! Is that a carving of Vega or Eagle or whatever you called him? Sakura exclaimed, clasping her hands together.
Yeah, it's not very good because I made it when I just learned how to carve with a knife. Malin used to be scared of animals, even Eagle, though he was so gentle. She still liked watching him, though. She wouldn't go near him, so I carved an image of Eagle for her.
Syaoran stroked the smooth sandalwood longingly.
I didn't know she kept it all these years. You don't realize how she cared for you all those years. Anything from you, she would have treasured it, Kaido replied.
Ooh, wise words from you, Sakura teased.
Hey, I'm a smart guy, you know, even if I am a thief, Kaido protested.
Yeah, everyone muttered.
Really? I used to be a straight A student and class president. Kaido then muttered, oops, never mind that. I'm completely ruining my image.
Adjusting his new Armani sunglasses, he corrected.
I was flunking out of school and a renegade, but I was a misunderstood genius. Yeah.
Everyone chose to ignore him.
Yeah, right,
squawked Kaido's pet parrot. Fingering the carving, Sakura asked, What happened to Eagle?
He died,
Syaoran replied quietly. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have figured.
Don't be sorry, it was ages ago.
Silently, Syaoran read the card attached to the wooden puppy. Dear Syaoran, this is my real card to you. Remember your golden retriever? I found this in my treasure box the other day. I thought you might like it back as a memoir. It's an exchange, you see. You gave me a pretty wood carved peony before I left Japan, so I can give this one back. You told me long ago that your favorite star was Vega. I had no idea where it is in the sky, but then I looked up into the sky and observed one bright star, and somehow I knew it was the star you were talking about. Everybody has a star to wish upon. I never told you this, but you have been my star for me. You're the one who guided me all through the years, no matter what. I now realize that it doesn't matter anymore whether you return my feelings, because that doesn't change the fact that I want to thank you for helping me become stronger. Now, I know that I can move on with my life as the stronger person you made me. I admired you because you could stand up after your father died, when Leon died, and even after you left Japan. You always know exactly what you want to do. I still remember the time you beat up all the middle school bullies while defending Eagle. I feel bad that I can't spend your birthday with you, but at least I know that Sakura must be with you. So to the point, happy birthday, my dear childhood friend, cousin, and the one I admire the most. Always lovingly, Lee Malin.
Aw, do I see tears in your eyes?
Kaido asked teasingly. Syaoran's expressions didn't change at all as he read the card.
Come on, show some emotion from your former fiancé writing you a birthday card.
Gazing at the wood-carved golden retriever again, Syaoran's amber eyes softened.
Thank you, Malin.
Fingering a full-length mirror in the hallway, Sakura heaved a funny little sigh. Everyone had left.
You don't like my birthday present, do you? She demanded. Syaoran blinked out, staring at the mirror, Sakura's birthday present to him.
How did you know? I mean, of course not. What makes you say that? I like it very much. Yes, really. I mean, it's really cool, unique, and I really wanted a mirror.
Kaido Magician's colorful pet parrot, Kaido-kun, kept various pet birds, who seemed to have remained after its master left, squawked, "Liar! Liar! Pants on fire!" Syaoran flung the Shakespearean love sonic book at it. Quack! The parrot flew away, squeaking and squawking. "Domestic animal violence! Domestic animal violence! Wherefore art thou so cruel to animals? Quack! What's in a bird? A parrot, though called by any other name, should be just as sweet." Quack! In return, Syaoran flung the dating manual book next. This resulted in the parrot screeching, "Quack! Dating manual, rule number 8, rule number 8. Don't ever use violence or show actions in front of a girl. Quack! Don't ever use violence. Quack!"
Okay, that sounds bad. Syaoran restated, but my point is, it doesn't matter what you give me. It's the fact you actually thought to give me something. And I really appreciate that.
Hanging her head, Sakura said, "I really wanted to give you a nice birthday. Thanks for trying to reassure me, yet I know my present doesn't compare to everyone else's. I wanted to give you something you really liked. Tell me, what do you really want?" She stared into the mirror, gazing at her reflection. Level, emerald eyes, glossy golden brown hair plaited into each side of her head, firm chin. Did I misinterpret something last time? Ignoring Kaido's parrot, which was squawking, "Mwah! Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who's the fairest one of all?" Syaoran walked up behind Sakura and pressed his hand on her shoulders. They both were reflected in the mirror now. He murmured into her ear,
"I'll tell you what I want. Remember how I told you to go home and look in the mirror?"
"Yes," Sakura replied, still puzzled.
"Well, what do you see?"
Syaoran asked, watching Sakura's expression intently through the mirror. "I see." Sakura stared at her reflection, hard. From behind her, Syaoran's breath tickled her neck. At that moment, the parrot flapped in front of them, comically saying, "Sha-la-la-la-la, kiss the girl, wah, wah, kiss the girl." Breaking the tense moment, Sakura tilted her head. Why would you want a parrot for your birthday? That's all I see in the mirror."
Idiotic bird," Syaoran moaned in despair. "It tastes after exactly like its owner. Ugh. Everything the Kaido Magician from day one messes things up for me. Forget everything I was saying about the mirror, all right? It was just a whim, a crazy, dumb idea."
Laughing, Sakura replied, "I'm not that stupid. I know you wouldn't want a parrot for your birthday any more than you want a mirror. I still don't know what the mirror has to do with what you want. I'm sorry, I'm hopeless at these things. The only thing I could see in the mirror was myself, and that can't be right." Though he tried to move his mouth, no sound came out. Desperately, Syaoran tried to mouth, "That's my point. You've hit the nail. You're supposed to see yourself in the mirror. Don't you get it?" Instead, he slumped on the floor, plugging his fingers into his ears because of the wretched bird, completely in despair. To Sakura, the parrot said in French, flapping its rainbow wing, "Wah! Tu es bête, tu es bête, tu es très bête. C'est toi, c'est toi." Meaning, "You're stupid, you're very stupid, it's you, it's you." Yet Sakura had already turned around. She stared at the mirror. The living room window was reflected in the mirror. It was completely dark outside now. Then she had an idea. "That's it!" She clapped her hands together. "Wah! Voila! Voila!" the parrot echoed. Then Sakura's face fell. "No, but it won't work. You can't go outside because you're cold." Seeing the disappointment fill Sakura's beautiful ocean green eyes, Syaoran hastened to reply, It's all right. If you haven't noticed, my cold has gotten much better. Besides, the doctor said fresh air is good for colds." "Are you sure you'll be all right?" Sakura asked. Syaoran nodded obediently. "Okay, then grab a jacket. We'll have to walk a bit." 10 minutes later, they landed on a bus in front of a gently sloped hill.
Where are we going? Syaoran asked, trying to keep up with Sakura, who was practically sprinting. The summer night air was slightly chilly.
We're here, Sakura stated as they came to the top of the slope. It's called the Stargazer Hill, a popular spot for people to watch stars from. She didn't mention that it was a famous spot for couples to watch stars and make wishes together. I've never been here before, but my friends from school told me about it. I've always wanted to come here once. I thought we could see Vega clearly from here.
That's why. Syaoran smiled, leave it to Sakura's sudden inspirations.
Frowning, she peered up at the overcast, pitch-black sky. Her face fell. But I guess not. It was stupid of me to check if the weather was clear today. But I dragged you out for no reason when you're sick already. I should have known better. There's not a single star to be seen. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to make this a special birthday for you, but I messed up since last night, letting you catch a cold, then buying you a birthday present you don't even like, burning your birthday cake, not understanding what you really wanted.
Shh, stop,
Syaoran said, pressing a finger to her lips.
It's all right. I don't need anything else. I'm just happy being here with you. I don't want anything more.
No, you don't understand my feelings. You don't know how much I wanted to make this day special. I tried so hard to, but I guess it's beyond me. I wanted to pay back all you've done for me today. Sakura bit her lips. I hate this feeling of not being able to do anything right.
I still don't know what is worse. Syaoran began on a different note. Having something happen, such as fate, or being out of your reach, out of your power, or being able to do something, yet feeling helpless when it happens, and letting the chance slip away.
What do you mean?
When Father died, it was out of my reach. When Leon perished, fighting the dark powers, it was out of my power to do anything. The Lee clan concluded that it was just because the course of life, the divine fate.
Syaoran explained.
It was so sudden, yet there was nothing to do about it. As I told you, I try to believe that Father sent Eagle to watch over me, because I wanted to believe that fate wasn't so sudden and final, that there was an afterwards. Call it childish, but I still don't believe Eagle was only a golden retriever. He was different. When I was 9, I was sent to the haunted woods in Hong Kong to track down the ghost wolf, which was said to haunt the place. According to legend, originally the dark wolf was said to have been the pet of Li Sama, the greatest sorceress from the mighty 5 magicians. This wolf had met a cruel death from one of the dark ones, and having seeped in evil powers, it turned into a monster. It was one of my tests to go hunt down this ghost wolf and seal it with an ofuera. The elders even lent me the Lee clan sword for this mission. Halfway through the search, I realized that Eagle had followed me into the haunted woods. I should have sent him back, yet I liked the company and security and selfishly allowed him to stay. It was Eagle who smelled out the ghost wolf. Told you he was no ordinary dog. Since I was new to the thing, I didn't realize the presence of a dark power. As the ghost wolf was prepared to leap from me, from behind, Eagle jumped out and bit the ghost wolf's neck. The wolf tossed Eagle aside without much effort. Till that moment, I'd never seen a more terrifying beast. It was silvery white coat shone dimly lit, dense forest and reddish eyes blazed. Its sharpened scissors were bared, hooked claws stretched, ready to tear the flesh off of any living creature. And this monster was as tall as myself, maybe 10 times the size of Eagle. I was frozen to the spot when the ghost wolf attacked once more. Quickly I came to my senses when I realized the Eagle had clung onto the wolf's hind leg. I held out my sword, took a deep breath, and swung down, missing. The ghost wolf's attention throttled from me to Eagle. Courageously, Eagle jumped up at the wolf ghost's back. just didn't loosen its grip on Eagle's throat. Full of fury, I slashed down the sword onto the ghost wolf's heart, along with a blast of Afueda power, the most force I've ever used in my life. Letting out a horrendous, pitiful growl, the ghost wolf evaporated into dark mist. Then it disappeared with a gust of wind. Eagle landed on the soft ground with a thud. It was too late. His throat was torn 2 inches deep and bleeding, while his fur was a mess of scratches and clotted with blood. I was helpless. There was nothing I could do. All because of me, Eagle was dying. The only recognizable part about Eagle, Vega of Lier, was the constant light brown dog eyes, loyal, noble, and faithful to the end. He seemed to say, "Don't have regrets. I chose this path to be with you till my end. Go on with your life, your hopes, your desires, and bear through the hardships and the pain. Choose your own path without any second thoughts." Syaoran laughed bitterly. Pretty intelligent for a dog, huh? I fell asleep in that cursed woods, and when I woke up, Eagle was gone. I didn't even cry. My other cousins said I wasn't feeling. Maybe I was, but what could I do? I never had a pet afterwards, and I'll never forget Eagle. I can't really stand pets anymore, though. Sad, isn't it?
Yes, it's sad you don't like animals anymore, Sakura murmured. But you can still heal from the hurt. You understood Eagle's wishes. It was Eagle's desire to protect his master to death. And if indeed he was sent by your father, Eagle has carried out his duty till the end for you. Yet I understand you. I also hate the feeling of knowing I could do something, yet being helpless. She stared at the clouded sky expectantly. Listening to Syaoran speak always stirred some depth of unknowns in her heart. His voice, his words, his serious and earnest manner, most of all, that straight gaze where his amber eyes bore through her soul. It hurt her when she heard the sadness in his voice, and she was helpless to do anything about it. Syaoran seemed to know everything about her, yet she didn't know much about Syaoran. Touching him was beyond her reach. No, she had to try harder. A gust of wind blew over the two of them as they stood on the grassy hill. Sakura stared through the gray clouds. Far from beneath the haze of the sky, she saw a slight glimmer. Was it a trick of the light? Or maybe an airplane? She let out a breath, feeling a strange lightness in her body as she continued gazing at the star. Slowly, as if a veil was being lifted, the clouds disappeared, and beneath the gloomy moon and celestial, dazzling constellation of the sky was revealed. Her heart skipped a beat as the true wonders of the night sky was slowly being revealed. The twinkling stars looked as if a handful of glitter had been flung into the sky. Amazing, Syaoran wondered. What did you just do? Nothing, Sakura shrugged, admiring the clear sky. I just hated being helpless. Look, there's the Polaris, the morning star, the 7 stars, Draco. Those are the only stars I know. And there's Vega of Liera, Syaoran pointed out. Really? Where? Sakura craned her neck with the telescope. Kaido-kun's present to Syaoran. There! The Princess Weaver, the Milky Way. Oh, and there's Shepherd Altair. Wow, amazing. It looks completely different through the telescope. It's beautiful, see? Peering through the telescope, Syaoran agreed. It's amazing. I can see particles swirling around Vega. Some astronomers believe that it's the forming of another solar system. Oh, and did you know that in thousands and thousands of years, Vega will become Earth's new North Star because of its positions to Earth's axis? Wrinkling her nose, Sakura said, It's fascinating, but I don't like such technical things. I'd rather think of stars as far celestial jewels which you can wish upon out of human predictability. Wow, Vega really is the most beautiful. But wonder why it's your father's favorite star.
My father told me it was because Vega of Lier reminded him of someone. I can probably guess who. Syaoran replied, I do wonder why, out of all the stars out here in the vast sky, Vega is his favorite one.
Well, we can find out then. Without waiting for an answer, she drew out her key. Key that hides the power of stars, show your true self to me. I, Sakura, command you. Release! She flipped out a card and struck it in the air. Return. A quarter century ago, Japan.
Hey, wait!
Ryorin called out, running up a grassy hill in the dusky evening.
If you run so fast, you're going to fall over.
Sure enough, Nadeshko, who had lethally ran over the slope, stumbled on her feet. Ow! Rubbing her forehead, she grimaced. I should listen to you. I hate it how you're always right.
Well, I am more mature, Ryorin began, his dark brown hair whipping in the wind.
Don't go into your I'm superior than thee mode again. I thought you were over that stage, Sakura reproached. Nadeshko reproached, clasping her loose violet hair in one hand.
I am, but if you act childish, there's not much I can do about it,
Ryorin replied. Stop arguing with me. You're ruining my mood, Nadeshko stated, sitting down on the top of the grass, her white dress billowing out around her. The sky is so beautiful. Stars make me feel so peaceful and serene.
You have a bruise on your forehead, Ryorin pointed.
Where? Nadeshko asked, fingering her head. I get so many bruises, I don't even feel them anymore.
Close your eyes, and I'll tell you where,
Ryorin replied. Obediently, Nadeshko shut her eyelids, which fluttered ever so slightly. Ryorin took the moment to stare at her beautiful, pale face shining with the glow of a star. Her luscious, wavy hair was swept back from her forehead and cascaded down her back, blowing in the gentle breeze. Bending over slightly, he kissed her on the forehead. Sakura and Syaoran gawked. Nadeshko's emerald eyes flew open questioningly. What was that for?
I made the bruise disappear,
Ryorin replied. You're weird, Nadeshko replied. But I like you better because you're strange. You were always so strange and queer, which made me more persistent to learn more about you. We used to hate each other in the beginning, but I'm glad we're friends now.
Did you really hate me a lot before?
Ryorin asked, raising his dark eyebrows. Well, no. I did hate you for slapping my face and spraining my wrist, but otherwise, I would never have gotten to know you if I truly hated you. She smiled furtively. I'll tell you a secret. Last year, I wished at the Tanabata festival that we'll become friends. I think it did come true. I always liked the Star Vega the best because of the legend behind it. There's something beautiful about the Princess Weaver and the shepherd being separated, yet still loving each other deeply.
It's just a silly fairy tale, Ryorin scoffed.
That sounds familiar, Sakura muttered. Syaoran coughed. Shrugging, Nadeshko said, maybe it is to you. In a light voice, she gazed into the sky and asked, You know, if I could be born as something different, I think I would have liked to be a star. Maybe Vega. And I will have liked to calmly and peacefully watch down on Earth and give someone hope and guide them out of darkness. Always shine brightly. That's all I ever really wanted in my life, you know. But somehow, things didn't turn out that way. You think I'm weird, too. How about you? Carefully thinking, Ryorin replied,
If I were to be born another creature, I would have liked to be a bird of flight, soar over the endless sky, clear and blue during the day, free and powerful and unbounded. In the nighttime, I'd fly through the blackness, reaching the brightly twinkling Vega. Even if I could never reach it, nothing will keep me from trying to reach there with my two wings.
Nadeshko stared at Ryorin's handsome face. She had always loved him, even though he didn't seem to return those feelings. Yet,
Being beside him like this made her feel so secure and close to his enigma. Look, Vega Lier is over there.
Where? Ryorin asked. Stars all look the same to me.
Sighing exasperation, Nadeshko replied, Don't try to see it with your eyes. See it with your heart. I'm going to make a new wish. It's that we can always be together like this. Always friends. Never hating each other. I don't want you to leave me, Ryorin. Do you think my wish will come true? To Ryorin's shock, Nadeshko's eyes were brimmed with tears.
What's wrong with you? You seemed so happy a while ago.
Letting the tears fall freely, Nadeshko stammered. Nothing's wrong, Ryorin. You must think it's so silly of me making wishes on stars. Because I know my wish will never come true. But that won't stop me from wishing it. Why do these tears keep flowing? I don't know what the future holds, but if I die, I wish we can part as friends, no matter what happens in between. Her voice had an urgency to it. Ryorin wondered if this was out of the blue, or if Nadeshko's second sight was telling her some intuition.
Silly. Why would you talk of dying when you're a good, healthy girl still? I'm sure your wish won't be too hard to grant. You know, you just convinced me that Vega will become my favorite star too. And I wish I can tell you my true feelings someday. I wish I could tell you I love you when I have the courage. Vega, the star with my beloved Nadeshko looks upon at night. Grant me this wish. I promise to tell you my love when the time comes. Whenever I look at Vega, I'm always going to think of you, Nadeshko.
Clapping, Sakura exclaimed, So that's why your father's favorite star is Vega. I never knew it was my mother's favorite one. And it seems as if mother's wish came true. Though the two part on bad terms because the dark ones, your father still came back years later, when mother was dying, to make things up and part as good friends.
I wonder if Vega granted the wish.
Syaoran pondered. Look, there's a shooting star, Sakura pointed.
Actually, it's a falling meteoroid,
Syaoran corrected, yet his eyes turned round at the blazing streak of light. Oh, but it's much more fun to think it's a shooting star. I've never seen one before. You better make a wish. Let's see. I wish. Closing her eyes, Sakura continued. I wish that we will always stay loyal, true, and trusting friends forever. That's a simple wish, isn't it? What do you wish?
If I tell you, it won't be a secret wish anymore, will it?
Syaoran replied. That's mean. I told you mine.
I never said you had to tell me yours,
Syaoran pointed out. This let a noise of childish rage erupt from Sakura. I hate you! To her surprise, Syaoran began laughing hard. He laughed until his sides ached and he rolled over onto the grassy hill. Finally, he gasped,
Sakura, I don't know what life would be like without you.
Smiling brightly, Sakura thought, Syaoran, I never heard you laugh so carefree and freely like this before. Hearing him so happy makes me so happy too. I've never heard you laugh before.
I don't think I ever did, Syaoran replied. Something about being around you changes who I am. I wonder what magic you pull on me.
No, I don't change who you are, Sakura said, crouching on the grass beside Syaoran, placing a hand on his thick chestnut brown hair. This is the real you, the real Li Syaoran, unburdened by family, honor, pain, or responsibility. It is truly who you are inside.
You think so?
Syaoran grinned, staring at Sakura's beautiful form outlined by the moon.
Yeah, you must be right. Being around you brings out my true self. You know, you're wrong about this being my worst birthday.
Today, he had thought back to his past, to the ones he loved, heard from his true friends, seen Vega, his father's favorite star. But most of all, he was with Sakura, which was all he would ask for. To him, Sakura was the one who guided him all along, helped him become stronger. Enveloping Sakura into a tight hug, he said, "You made it wonderful for me. I will always remember it and value and cherish this birthday."
Really? Sakura asked happily. Then maybe I did work things out after all. Oh, I'm so glad.
Vega of Lier watched over the two, glistening brilliantly over them. Syaoran's 5th birthday had been happiest, his 10th most prideful, yet this one was his most precious birthday. Why? Because he was with his most precious Sakura.
Sakura sneezed the next day, reaching for a box of Kleenex. "Oh, are you okay?" Tomeo asked, concerned.
"I'm all right,"
Sakura answered. "Oh, I guess you caught a cold from Syaoran-kun," Tomeo commented.
"At least his cold got better. I hope he doesn't catch it again from me,"
Sakura said. Smiling, Tomeo said, "Oh, there's a saying that if you give your cold to someone else, you'll get better. Anyway, what were you and Syaoran doing last night that made you catch a cold?"
If that saying is true, I'll give this cold right back to him, Sakura groaned. Ugh, but it's worth getting sick, knowing that I gave Syaoran a meaningful birthday.
All the objects in her room vibrated.
I'm really touched to hear that. Don't blow my apartment away, though.
Syaoran said teasingly, bringing a tray with a steaming bowl to Sakura's bed.
"Here, have this."
"What is it?"
Sakura sat up in bed, embarrassed to be caught in such a tousled state.
"Warm honey milk, just like your brother would make you if he were here. And just like the one you made me years ago when I was sick."
Syaoran replied, smiling.
"You did remember,"
Sakura exclaimed.
"Of course I did,"
Syaoran replied, tugging her braid playfully.
"I remember every moment with you."